Get ready with me while I tell you about the worst guy I ever talked to. So let me give a little backstory onto how I met this guy. So, on my private story, I would always make story times and hauls and stuff before I ever started doing TikTok. And so one day, I decided to skip my college class and go to Ulta. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? And I did a little haul in my car when I got back to school. And I had only like my close friends in this private story. So my one friend who was in the private story takes out her phone and watches it in the middle of class. And this one guy like takes her phone in the middle of her watching it. And so he starts seeing my story. And then he adds me on Snapchat off of that story. Yeah. So I remember getting off of work and then I added him back, but I was asking people like who he was because I didn't know him. I'd never heard of him. And everybody was warning me about him. They were like, oh no, like don't talk to him. Like he's nasty, whatever you want to say. I don't even know. But I went to high school with him and I didn't even know it. So slay. So yeah, I absolutely listened to nobody that warned me about him and I added him back. Added him back on Snap. Okay. And so we were just snapping for like a week or so, like just snapping pictures of our face back and forth, saying nothing. So anyway, I'm at work one day, and then after my friend, we're gonna call her E, she texts me and she's like, do you want to go to Waffle House with me after you get off? And I was like, slay, let's go. So we go to Waffle House, and I'm still snapping this guy like normal, just pictures of her face. So he sees that we're at Waffle House and he's like, oh my gosh, come bowling. And I was like, I don't know if I want to or whatever. So I asked my friend and I was like, do you want to go? And like, that way you can be there like when I meet him and stuff. And she was like, sure. So we get there and he's there with his friend. And his friend was actually funny, but he was very like awkward and weird. Like, anyway, we're out bowling with him and his friend. And I'm with E. And then, we're just sitting there, we're talking for a while. It was kind of awkward, to be honest, but I was just like, whatever. So the next day, he texts me and he's like, I had a lot of fun last night. Like, can I take you out? And I was like, sure. So he decided that he was going to take me out. And guess where he was taking me to? Yep, you guessed it. Waffle House. Even though I had just went there the previous night before. But he didn't let me choose where I wanted to go. So before this date, I'm literally having so much anxiety because I don't know what to expect. Oh my gosh. And also just to keep in mind, he drives a Mustang, but this will come later in the story. He comes and picks me up, right? And he opens the door so he can pretend to be a gentleman and have chivalry, right? Yeah. I freaking hate when men do that. Like, they act like they are all this huge gentleman, but they're actually doing it because they want something from you. Like, oh, don't even. And so we're just eating, and like, he would just do the weirdest stuff. Like, I didn't even know how to explain, but I had E on speed dial, so I could literally call her if I needed to leave that date. So anyway, he starts talking about a drift track. And I was like, no, I've never been to the drift track. And he's like, do you want to go? And like, I didn't want to go, but I was like, like, whatever, we can go, because I didn't want to go home. And then I had school the next day. So I was like, nah, okay, let's just go then. So we go to this freaking drift track. First off, it's like an hour away. And then the whole entire drive, he's like trying to do that thing where he like slowly like scoots his hand and tries to put it on my leg. Yeah, you're not sneaky. And I don't even like you. Okay, but at the time I kind of did like him, so I don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, he takes me home, right? And then he was just sitting there, and I was like, so are you gonna drop me off, or are you gonna come open my door? But no, literally after we got out of the Waffle House, he did not open my door anymore. Like, he didn't open my door anymore. And I was like, yeah, because it's all just a freaking act. Yeah. So anyway, sorry. He's just sitting there because he was trying to freaking kiss me. But this time I actually did actually lean in for the kiss, which usually on like a first date I would never. But I was also like, I don't know, I was freaking butthurt, okay? Because I had just left my ex, and so I was like, who really cares? Like, so I kissed him, right? And it was freaking awful. It was literally freaking awful. I should have swerved it. But I didn't. And then, he texted me and stuff, and he's like, I had really fun, so we continued to talk. So a week later, I get into my car accident, And he lived right up the street from where it happened. So I literally took a video and I sent it to him. And then he comes down which is actually really nice. He did drive down and see me before he had to go to, not football, baseball. And so we just talked for a little bit, and then he left, and then I went home and bawled my eyes out, right? And he felt really bad, so then he took me more Waffle House later. Like, we might as well just call him the Waffle House man, because that's the only place he knows where to eat. And it wasn't like he didn't have money, okay? Because he had daddy's money, and that's all he would talk about. Yeah. Like, his dad bought his car, that's all he would talk about. So anyway, a few weeks go by, right, after that incident, and he keeps asking me to come over, like, only at night, which was really annoying to me. Because I'm like, boy, I worked all day. Like, no, I just want to go to bed at night. Like, I don't want you to come over. And if he's only asking to come over at night, like, red flag, you know? But sometimes I would let him, and other times I'd be like, no, sorry, or I just wouldn't even look at it. He would just always have something rude to say. Like, he would be joking around saying, like, I'm fat, and be like, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. First off, I'm literally not fat, and shut up and don't you say that to anybody ever. Like, are you dumb? So anyway, the last time he ever came over, okay, this is like, oh, I freaking hate this. So he comes over, right? Because he kept begging me, and I was just so annoyed at this point that I was like, okay, fine then, like, come over. So he comes over, right? We would always sit in my living room. And then he had asked me if I had a charger, and I was like, yeah, like, it's in my room. I'll go get it real quick, and I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Like, BRB! Yeah, so anyway, he goes to the bathroom, and I go to get it, right? And so I kind of, like, push my door shut a little bit, like, it's kind of cracked open, because I'm just used to doing that, so that's why I did that. And then I finally find the cord, so then I come out into the hall, and he's standing at the top of the stairs. And, like, I never said he could come upstairs. I literally told him I would be right back. If I wanted you to follow me up, I would have said that. But I didn't. So, what are you doing? So, anyway, he comes into my room. And he sits in this exact vanity chair, right? And he's like, let's play a little game. And it was so stupid. He's like, let's play the game of, like, how many people have we kissed? And I was like 2. And then he's like, I kissed like 20. And I was like, okay, like, is this funny to you? Is this funny to you? Because this is not a competition of how many more people you've kissed. So you can go to jail. Yeah. So anyway, then he's sitting here and he's talking about how he doesn't do long distance. And my sister and her boyfriend do. So then he was trying to throw my sister under the bus, and this is where I freaking lost my mind, because you're not gonna throw my sister under the bus, like, no. So he's like, oh my gosh, that her boyfriend has probably been cheated on multiple times, and I was like, first off, you're calling my sister a cheater, you don't know her, and long distance can work for people, and I do believe that it can, just not everyone. So for you to go and say that, get out, get out, get out. Yeah, and then he left, and then I blocked him about a week later, and I never talked to him again, and he started freaking out. And slay. So I hope you enjoyed this story time. Let me know if you want more. I love you.